Hey tubers, and welcome to week 3. It's Sunday here on Pagan Perspective, and I am your host, Austin. This week's topic is about our personal gods and goddesses, whether we choose to stick with one or many, just talking about our beliefs around gods and goddesses. My belief is that sort of the all gods are one god concept. Whenever I am just doing any sort of general work or a circle, normally I will use, God, goddess, lord, lady, that kind of thing. I have worked with specific aspects of the god or goddess. If I were doing something, for example, my altar for social change, I have a statue of liberty, or libertos, however you want to think of that. But my personal opinion is that the god and the goddess are, how do I explain this, kind of one universal energy or universal being or consciousness, but that has a masculine and a feminine polarity, and that also has many different characteristics or attributes. And I think that the reason, my personal belief is that the reason we call them by a name, or that we assign a personage or an ideal of what they look like, is because we are human, and that is what we base our lives off of. We look this way, we react this way, we interact this way, so it is easier for us to understand that what we cannot see by putting on human characteristics to it. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think that it's a lack of knowledge or a lack of information that causes us to do this. I think it's the way that works best for us. We can speak to a god or a goddess easier, that we can imagine as being a person, or as having a human body, or looking the way we do, or speaking the way we do, easier than we can if we just think, okay, there's this universal consciousness out there that is, all-knowing or whatever. And I do think that there is a purpose for, people who choose to work with a named god or goddess. I think that that purpose allows us to, again, to break it down and to work with one characteristic, whether it be something that we need or something that we're, some aspect of that energy that we're drawn to. So that's kind of my personal view on gods and goddesses. And I will say this: I think that we have this very odd thing with the idea of a god and a goddess, that we want to assign masculinity and femininity. And I think that that's completely wrong. My time studying gender, I think we'll have a little caveat here. Gender is in your head. Sex is between your legs. So when someone says, and this drives me nuts, when you go to the license, division, or the DMV, or you're at school, and it says name, age, gender. I either always scratch it out and write sex, or I will write, I'm not sure, today I choose to be X, which pisses people off to no end, and then I explain it to them, but then sometimes I'm just an asshole like that, and that's my pet peeve. Anyways, so I think that the god and the goddess is not necessarily about gender. There are masculine and feminine energies, but unfortunately, Western society views gender in a way that is masculine is, X, and feminine is this. Well, Eastern cultures don't see it that way. There are many other cultures who see it in reversed ways. We always think, okay, the man is going to be the breadwinner, the man is the, and the female is the feminine and the pretty and the weak and the trod upon and all this, and I think that's crap. But anyway, so I don't necessarily think of it that way. I think that in gender polarities. And more so, now we do have to deal with things that we understand. So we have to relate it to something that we know. And sex is something we know. It is physical. You can look at yourself, you can look at other people, and you can see what they have. So we have labeled everyone as being a man or a woman, as being masculine and feminine. And I think that there are polarities in that, and we have assigned masculine to being more energy releasing and kind of this idea of outward, as well as nature. And we have assigned the goddess to more inward, the feminine to more inward, to more emotional, to more intellectual, which I think, there's a bit of truth to. I mean, men tend to be more outward. Is that a construct of our society? Maybe. Or is it something that is due to hormonal differences? We don't really know. There's never been a place that has existed without society and without society's views on gender, so we don't know that. So my idea of the god and goddess and my idea of energies is more in a gender polarity. And I have a quote that I heard the other day that I really, really love, and it points out one of my biggest frustrations with the god energies. Okay, so I'm going to be really bad here. I'm going to read you this quote. I don't have the name of the author. If I can find the podcast again and listen to it more closely, I might be able to catch it. Unfortunately, the audio quality wasn't quite so good when they said it. But the quote basically says, too often the horn god of nature can be turned into a simple force of hoof and horn, and grain and grunt, and thrust and lurch, and armpits and the men's locker room, rather than one of intellect, the tongue with words, the speaker of truth, and the creator of beautiful and delicate things. So I think that too often, I have noticed, we separate the goddess to all things beautiful, and we put the god to all things lustful, and I can't describe it, just all things, And I think that that's not very true. I think if we really do our research, and if we really look into the gods and goddesses of the past, and if we look into the many faces of the god and goddess, we will find many gods who, well, for one, are homosexual or gods of the art, and we will find many female gods who are either lesbianic, not to say that gay equals femininity or that lesbian equals masculinity. That's not what I'm saying here. But we will find many goddesses, for example, Athena, the goddess of war. She had many other aspects, but there was that aspect too. So I think that we need to open our minds up more to the many aspects within the aspects of the god and the goddess. So I'm sure I rambled on forever. That's a little bit of a glimpse into my personal views on the god and the goddess. And if you've been hearing noise in the background the whole time, I'm sorry. My dishwasher is running. It's cleaning day. So have a great Sunday. I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you next Sunday here on Pagan Perspective. Bye. Gender is in your head. Sex is between your legs.